Hey, everybody, it's your boy Darrell Owens, and this is Green and Gold over everything. And this is episode 14. And this is going to be a very quick episode of Green and Gold over everything. Just a quick recap of what we had going on last week against the New York Football Giants and AKA Tommy DeVito, AKA Matilda's dad, or Tommy Cutlets, you name it. And we'll go over that game, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Bucks game. Like I said, quick episode today. We'll be back with a full episode next week as we get ready for the Packers taking on the Panthers as they will head to Carolina with their playoff hopes hopefully still intact. Currently, right now, holding on to that 7th seed, but there's a lot of work to do with 4 games left. This is Green and Gold over everything, episode 14. Let's get it going. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 14 of Green and Gold over everything. Look, coming to you here on this Sunday morning, just a couple hours before the game starts, and we wanted to be able to just talk a little bit about what happened last week. A Packers team that came into this game rolling. I mean, they were rolling. Big wins over the Kansas City Chiefs, big win over the Detroit Lions a couple of weeks ago. They were starting to click, and I'm not going to lie to you. In my mind, I said to myself, it's maybe too much hype for this team. I was like, it's still early. They're a young football team. And in the back of my mind, I knew at some point, it may come that way. And something would give. And I'm like, all right, what'll happen here? That was my biggest concern. What will happen? What will it look like when it does happen? And we saw Monday night. Monday night, we saw the Packers take a tough one, 24-22, had the lead on the final drive. This is probably the first time during the season where we had the lead going into the final drive, other than, I believe, the Falcons game. Or no, I take that back. This is the only one, and where they had the lead driving down the field, a chance to for the defense to step up and make, whatever stops needed for the Packers win. Now, the fact that the Packers were still in this game, even, in those last minute or two, surprised the mess out of me. I mean, absolutely surprised the mess out of me. And I'm not even going to sit here and lie to you on that. But like I said, we'll go over a little bit of what, how the scenarios kind of, took place. And even though the Packers lost this game, they still hold the 7th seed in the NFC. But believe me, it is a tight hold to the NFC. I'm going to play something for you real quick before we get into it. I saw it and I had to laugh, but it's something that needs to be played. Now I'm gonna play it through my phone here, but it's still funny. All the Giants fans are happy, talking about they couldn't wait to play this. They waited 40 years to play this, even though this certain scenario happened back in 2008 against the Packers. It's just bad luck against the Giants for the most part. But here it is.
Did you happen to catch the professional football contest on television last night? No, I didn't. Oh, it was most exhilarating. The Giants of New York took on the Packers of Green Bay. And in the end, the Giants triumphed by kicking an oblong ball made of pigskin to a big H. It was a most ripping victory. Son, I'm just going to tell you this one time. Yes, sir. You want to keep working here. Stay off the drugs.
Yeah, there's my second favorite movie of all time, Coming to America. And yes, Giants fans got to relive it, I guess you can say, getting that win over the Packers. Now, talking a little bit about this game, and I didn't do no players of the week this week because I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't think anybody really deserved it after what was seen last week. So you start this game off 3 punts in a row, from both sides, whatnot. Three straight possessions, 3 punts. Then the Giants had a chance. They missed the field goal. Then the Packers went on a 7-play, 62-yard drive, doing their thing. Had a nice little dose of Dylan on the drive, and they finished off with Jaden Reed, 16 yards, right in a touchdown. Nice little touchdown run, and the Packers were cooking, right? You thought, okay, yeah, great. Green Bay's looking good. Then the Giants fire right back on an 8-play, 75-yard drive where they just kind of went in there, did their thing. They finished it off with a Saquon Barkley touchdown. The game is tied at 7 apiece. Then the Packers rolling, trying to get things going, and then there's a fumble, a Jordan Love fumble. And Jordan Love has been playing so good the last couple of weeks. You hated to see the fumble. At first, he was ruled down by contact. They ended up being a fumble. The Giants would take advantage, or at least try to take advantage of it. They got it in Giant territory. And, like I said, the Packers, and the bad thing about the Packers were driving. Like, they were in the mix. They had a chance to, really get things going. But that kind of derailed things, even though, the Packers are able to have the Giants go on turnover on downs. They only did 5 plays in the punt the ball, whatever. Packers get the ball back. They throw a pick within 2 plays. They were looking for Dontavian Wicks and Pinnock would get the interception at the Giant 23. Giants end up punting. Packers field goal. So at the end of the half, the Packers were still winning 10-7. All right. And I wanted to make sure I read all of this because it's something that I wanted to make sure that you get a feel of how all this was going down. Then we would see, we saw the Packers, see the Giants punt, Packers fumble on the punt, which that was heartbreaking. So they did that. Giants go down the field, take advantage of the field position. They score. They take a 14-10 lead. Packers will go down. They get a field goal. It's 14-13. All right. Still in the mix. Then a nice drive, a 10-play, 75-yard drive by, Tommy DeVito, a.k.a. Matilda's dad and the boys. They go down there and they score on an 8-yard touchdown pass to Hodges. Things not looking too hot. If I had to be honest with you, things weren't looking too hot. Packers had a chance to make it a 21-16 game. Carlson, who's had some hit or misses this year for the Packers in the field goal game, misses a field goal. Giants don't take advantage of it. They end up punting the ball. Then the Packers get the ball back again. They kick another field goal. That field goal finally, have a field goal attempt. They get their field goal as 21-16. Then we saw a Giants fumble where the Packers took advantage of that, and they scored a touchdown to give them a 22-21 lead. And it was just like a minute and some change left in the game. And then we see the Giants drive down the field, and they end up kicking a field goal, and they end up winning the game. And so Randy Bullock makes everything happen. It was a tough go. It really was a tough go, for this Packer enthusiast. I don't know what, the thought process on certain play calls were. I didn't like, I don't think one time I want to say they tried a flea flicker. Sometimes it just seems like the play calling is not in the right place. It's just not good timing to make some of the play calls. And I know Matt's got a creative mind, and some of those things I feel like you still could do with veterans on your team. Keyword with vets on your team. And not saying you can't do it with the young guys, but sometimes it just maybe it's a crazy argument. I just feel like a lot of these games the Packers lost would have been wins with veterans there to help this young team along the way on the offensive side of the ball, per se. Um, Defense couldn't catch a cold in this one. They had some moments, but once again, a team that's struggled for the majority of the season in the Giants, I feel like a game that they should have won. But something about being in New York, just it just wasn't meant to be. All right, so looking at the box score here, just kind of looking at a little bit of what they had going on in the box score. Um, Jordan Love, 25 for 39, 218 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He got sacked twice, QBR rating of 55.9. That's tough. And then a quarterback rating of 76.7. Now, these last couple of weeks, he was over 100. He was rolling. He was looking good. A.J. Dillon, 15 carries, 53 yards. He did what he needed to do. He did break his thumb, which is not something that you want to hear. Positive news, though, we will see Aaron Jones back today when they take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that part is very important. At least we finally get a healthy Aaron Jones back on the field. That's something that I feel like no matter what, you got to have playmakers, veteran playmakers. He's one of those veteran playmakers they haven't had on the field the last couple of weeks. Even though they've been winning, it still would be nice to have him there. Much love to Patrick Taylor, who's averaged 7 yards a carry when he got the ball on Monday night. So I like what he was able to come in and do. They still have Kenyon Drake, who they I believe signed to the 53-man roster yesterday. It might have been I think it might have been yesterday where they signed him to the 53-man roster. So Aaron Jones being back, that gives them a little bit more depth at the running back position. On the receiving front, Tyler Kraft really coming along as a tight end. I mean, I think he was sitting behind Musgrave before Musgrave got hurt. And I thought Musgrave was starting to really progress well before he got hurt. Kraft's come in, done a very commendable job while Musgrave has been out. So good thing to see there from the green and gold. Romeo Dobbs, 4 receptions, 32 yards. Jaden Reed had 8 receptions, but only for 27 yards. Dillon had a catch. Torrey, Wicks, Taylor, all those guys. Malik Heath, his one catch was a touchdown that gave the Packers the lead, 22-16. Fumbles lost, had 2 of them. Jordan Love lost 1, and then Keyshawn Nixon also lost a fumble. It's just, I don't know. Just looking at these stats kind of gave me a little sadness over it. On the defensive front, we had a couple of tackles for loss, 4 to be exact. Kenny Clark had 2. Devontae Wyatt had 1. Isaiah McDuffie also had 1. I just felt like this defense let Matilda's dad have his way. Plain and simple. He let them have their way. They did their thing. They came out there and did what they were supposed to do. And now the Giants have the advantage over the Packers. If somehow, some way it's tied, the Giants are going to get in the playoffs over the Packers because of that head-to-head matchup. So kudos to the Giants. They're in the mix right now. They've got a chance to still make the playoffs. The NFC at the bottom is wild. I mean, like it's like the Wild Wild West. There's like, the AFC is the same way. It's like 11, like maybe like 5 or 6 teams that are still in the mix. And in the NFC, it's a little bit wilder because the NFC South is bad. And so the Bucks, the Falcons, and the Saints are all in that bad boy. All in the mix with a chance to take the lead, in that division. Right now, the Bucks currently have it. That may not last long. It may last long. Who knows? But that's why this game today against the Buccaneers is very critical because the Bucks are trying to hold on to that playoff spot. The Packers are trying to hold off to a playoff spot. Thank goodness that the Packers are at home for this one, because if not, who knows what that would be? I mean, who really knows what that would look like? But right now, uh, Green Bay somehow is holding on tight to it. The win over the Rams, the conference record has kind of went in their favor. So right now they've got 4 games coming up: Bucks, Panthers, Vikings, and Bears. And in my opinion, all of them are winnable games. I thought last Monday was a winnable game, but they no. And I have to keep telling myself, Darrell, young team, you gotta let them make it best way they can. It's hard, man. It's hard. We're just spoiled. Spoiled fan base. 30 years, at least for me, 30 years of watching this Packers team do well, play well, and do some really good stuff. Super Bowls, Hall of Fame quarterbacks. And so you got to get used to starting over per se, because that's where they are. They won't tell you that fully, but that's partially what they got going on in these streets right now. They got that. That's what my man Drew Willingham would say, in these streets, like just there, you know. But as this goes along, we see a Packers team that right now still kind of hold their faith. You went out, you're in the playoffs, obviously, but you have a chance here to really make some leeway. You got the Vikings in 2 weeks. If they can win these two and win that Vikings game, maybe they move it to the 6th spot. But right now they're holding on tight, extremely tight, to number 7. You got to watch out, especially with a Rams team that is going to be tough. So watch out for them. Watch out. All right. So next thing, let's talk about the game that happens today at 1 o'clock. The Green Bay Packers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from Lambeau Field. Now, both teams are 6-7. And like I said, this matchup will have playoff implications regardless, because even though the Buccaneers currently had the NFC South lead, a win here, and if somehow they lose that lead, they have the advantage over the Packers. Once again, whoever wins this game is going to have that advantage down the stretch. It's a big game, and don't let anybody tell you differently. It is a big game for both teams. I think in this one, it'll be very critical to see if Green Bay can contain Mike Evans. Mike Evans is having a phenomenal year. Again, I think it's his 10th straight season with over 1,000 yards receiving, and he has been Baker Mayfield's main target. They've got to be able to stop, and I'm not going to say his name wrong, but I think it's like Richard White, Richard White, something in that, Mr. White, we'll call him that. The running back. The Packers have never, as long as I've been alive, maybe since maybe like the early mid 90s, have been able to truly stop the run. That's how long it feels like. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and I mean, like I said, it's been a while, but it's been a while since they've been able to like truly been good at stopping the run. So that'll be a point of emphasis once again for Green Bay as they head into this game and trying to find a way to win this one. But if they can bring the pressure to Baker Mayfield, we've seen Baker get rattled, and when he does get rattled, it's bad. And I think this is an opportunity if they can, the pass rushers, if the Van Nesses, if the Preston Smiths, if Kenny Clark can get that pressure up the middle, all of those factors have to come in play. Not 100% sure if Jair is going to play. We do know that Eric Stokes has been taken off IR, and there's a chance that he plays. It's a lot of elements going on for Green Bay right now. I don't know how this game is going to play out. This is another 50-50 one for me. And even though they play the Panthers next week and they've only won one game, I don't put anything past anything. I don't put anything past anything. You gotta be able to want it. And so we're gonna see what type of team here Green Bay has heading into these last 4 weeks. Now I will say this: I blame the announcers for one thing. As soon as they start hyping, Matt LaFleur 16-0 in December, I was like, it's coming. I knew it was coming. I was like, there's no way that's going to hold up. I knew there was a loss coming in there somewhere. I didn't know how it was going to happen, who it was going to happen to, whatever way you want to. I didn't know how it was going to go down, but I felt it in my spirit. I truly felt it in my spirit. But it's gonna be a good one today. Two teams battling for a playoff spot or spots, implications, all that good stuff. I I predict that Green Bay will play better than they did against the Giants. I will say that. And they're seeming to get healthy at the right time. That's also going to be a critical piece. So I just hope everybody sits back and they really get a chance to enjoy the game today. I'm going to sit back and truly enjoy the game today. I just want to see if they can bounce back, because that's going to be a critical characteristic that you want to see from a team like this. Is you lose a tough one like this, a game that a lot of people expected you to win, and can you bounce back from it? That's what I need to see, if they can bounce back from a tough one like this. But we will see. 1 o'clock today, Eastern time, 12 o'clock Central, Packers versus Buccaneers. Packers hold the all-time series lead 34-23-1. These teams used to battle all the time when they were in the NFC Central. So it's a old rivalry renewed, and they played in the NFC Championship game a couple years ago in Lambeau. That did not go the Packers' way as well. That's the famous Brett Favre should have ran it into the end zone when he had a chance game. Uh, there's so many elements, y'all. There's so much to go into it, but this is a game that I had on my calendar, and I said this is going to be a really tough one for the Packers, because the Buccaneers, famously playing pretty well. It's usually a pretty decent game, and kind of like how the Chargers felt, and they did win the Chargers game. So, but positive news: Aaron Jones will be back, Eric Stokes will be back, potentially Jair. We don't know how that will end up, truly playing out, but can't wait to see. Well, everybody, sit back, enjoy football today. Green and gold over everything. Short edition today. Had to give a quick one, but we'll be back with a long edition next week as we head into the Christmas weekend, and the Packers head on the road to take on the Panthers. And I'll try to get my boys Deshaun and Randall back in the building so we can bring you a good show. Hopefully something positive to talk about. That will be the goal at hand, is to talk about something positive. But with that being said, y'all have an amazing Christmas week leading up to Christmas holiday. We'll be back to you on Christmas Eve next week. But, just in case something and we have to do it the week after, just in case, happy holidays, and we'll see you all later. This has been Green and Gold over everything here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network.